What's going on, YouTube family? This is Mike Anderson with the 1% Solution and Living Motion Monograms, and it is darn good to see you guys out there. Hope you're having a great day. Happy Valentine's Day to you guys. Hope you got a little bit of love in your life. Today is a very, very special day for me. Not just because, well, we got to get something for the wifey, but also because it's actually my son's birthday too. He was born on Valentine's Day, and yeah, I tried to. I said, told my wife, I'm like, hey, happy Valentine's Day. I got you a kid. Don't do that. Just don't. It's a bad idea. It doesn't work. All right, guys. I am so sorry about the delay in starting the stream today. If you could see Studio 2 right now, all I can say is Randy's gonna be pissed. Hopefully he won't be in for a little bit and walk into this mess. So we're doing a little remodel, real revamp of Studio 2 here. Hopefully you guys are like I said, having a great day. Today we're gonna be doing some we're gonna have some fun. We're gonna do some Valentine's Day designs and see what we can come up with. I also want to take your suggestions in the live chat. So if you guys are here, you want to be a part of it, make sure that you log into your YouTube and pop open that live chat session there to say hi to everybody and be a part of the design, because I want to get your guys' input if when it comes to design elements and stuff and what we end up wanting to do for everything. Definitely would love to see what you guys have in mind for that. Let's see here. Where? Oh, I hope this does not do. Okay. Let's see. Where is my Photoshop? I think it's on a screen that is not active right now. Let's find out. What are your guys' plans for Valentine's Day? You got any special plans for everything? You going out to dinner? Going beating the craziness out there with trying to find something to eat? Oh, come on over here. All right. We have got all right, so we're going to bring this open here. We got some friends in the live chat right now. Eric, thanks so much for coming by. Happy Valentine's Day to you, man. Great to have you here, part of the live stream. Jeff just jumped in here. Jeff Sandberg, hey, what's going on, buddy? And of course, Ian, our fearless moderator here. He's good to see you here today. Currently driving, but I'll keep my eye on things. Yeah, okay, that's great, Ian. Yep, you know what? It's okay. I can keep definitely keep listening, not watching the stream. Oh man, yeah, that's exactly what we need. People moderating while driving. I don't think that is that qualifies for hands-free, buddy. So keep up that spirit there. Oh, let's see here. Yeah, it's coming up on. Oh no, where is it hiding? I'm pretty sure. I wish that there was a way when you. I guess I think Randy's probably laughing at me right now because he came in yesterday and was like, yeah, so I think 4 monitors is too many. You have a problem. I don't have a problem, man. Come on. All right, let me kick on this other monitor, see if it pops up here. Hold on a second. Wow, you guys might see some flashing here. Apologize for that. Let's see if it All right, we're gonna do a little. Hopefully, we won't cause too much trouble here, but let's just see if we can disable this other one. And we're gonna disconnect this. Hopefully, we're still alive. Still alive there. All right, there. Now we have it up. Oh, thank goodness. Everything else is probably messed up, so we're gonna have to make some adjustments on the fly. Yeah, we've got a couple issues here. All right, so as far as like monogram ideas, obviously when it comes to monograms, people are going to want to see Happy Valentine's Day. Maybe we'll do one like with and without Happy Valentine's Day on it, but maybe just do kind of the theme of the hearts and stuff. Are there any colors you guys want to drop in the chat as far as color scheme or anything like that that we want to end up doing? I also want to try and get a video motion monogram done as well today, and see if we can work and get that all situated. Do something cool to where we have some video. Stay. Trying to leave me. Okay. So we will go into our full view here. All right, so we should be seeing our Photoshop here. So I've done a few in the past, and we've got a couple different things kind of set up here, but we're gonna kick things off, and it was one of my favorite kind of pieces of artwork. We've got our rocks. I call it the Rockstar Heart. Some graphic designs that we downloaded here, and the cool thing about this is that you find some like certain not web designs, but graphic design websites that have artwork that you can use and license it to you for a final product here. Let's try one of them. I subscribe to is Billion Photos, and it's it's not the most amazing site as far as we can see it here. Let me go ahead and first sign in. Not kind of divulge that info for you guys, hopefully here, but it's got some really great artwork, and at a certain level, you also get the opportunity to like download real high-res PNG files or Photoshop files with layering, so it ends up working out really well. So now we got this up here. So like, and when I'm looking for different things, I can always type in here, just basically like love, and we get some kind of creative things that pop up here. Let's increase the size, and it's like, for example, this heart. And I can download this as, vector shapes. We've got some, oh, this is kind of cool. I like this. Let's see, download that. And so let's go ahead and like show, we're gonna open this one up, because I want to show you guys something else about this. So when we open up a file here, a lot of times off to the right side, this bottom right side here, we've got our, let's see, there's like, let's see if we can make this a little bigger for you. So this just kind of tells me that we've got, it's kind of basically a certain type. So we've got other stuff going on in this layer here, and if we double click on this, and depending on if you have like Adobe Illustrator here, it's going to launch Adobe Illustrator, and let's see. There we are. And what this does is now when we go into the layers, we see that the other one is a Photoshop file, but we were kind of limited. It doesn't really show us. Even if maybe if we can convert to a smart object here. No, that's not going to do it. That's not it. So our channels, and I'm sure adjustments images, that there's a way where you don't have to open it up in the second program, but for today we're going to do that, and I'll look into seeing what ends up popping up there as far as see if I can find a way to kind of relay to you guys some of the other options. So we're going to bring up that Adobe Illustrator again, and on the layer side over here now, as we click things, and if we want to adjust things or actually add to it, this is all set up here. We can actually like turn off our background, which is the just the white. It's not actually on the file there, which is really nice. So we got little hearts here. One of these is going to be our big heart, and so a lot of these files now all of a sudden I can add to it. I can change things around. I can take these little elements out of here. Maybe we want to put names right there in the center. We don't want the heart, and just kind of add to the design. For us, I think this looks great. So we're gonna kind of come back into our Photoshop design here. Let's go ahead and rename this. So this will be our just name it heart, and then we're gonna go ahead and start a new design here for our monogram, which will be 1920 by 1080 and resolution 300. Well, background black, and that's going to be in the pixel format here. So this just gives us our standard kind of template for design to monograms. So we're going to I'm going to put in our guidelines here just so we know where the center is. 960, 540. There we are. And we come back to our heart design here. We just grab that layer, come back to our new design, and pop it right in. Of course, our shortcut Control-T, that kind of lets us know where the our guides are. We can resize this a little bit. We want it to fill most of the frame for our initial design. All right, now what can we do this to make it basically kind of dress it up? I mean, this is a very flat image, right? Yeah, Ian in the chat says, "Hey, yeah." Jeff says he's hearing Jeopardy theme music. Be nice if, yeah. I unfortunately start playing Jeopardy music and it's gonna. But yeah, I think you're right. We need to get a little bit of music in here. So let me know if this gets too loud or too annoying. I'm just trying to figure out this, getting something in the background, and hopefully not getting the whole thing demonetized or get a copyright strike on this. So. Jeff, you're working an event and watching, man. You are dedicated. Thanks so much for being here. I appreciate it. So we've got our heart. Let's go ahead and open up our layer styles. We can also access our layer styles or add a layer to this. And of course, we're working in Photoshop CC right now. But you can also go up here to layers and go into our adjustment layers and say, what are we going to do? First, we're going to not adjustment layer styles. Let's start with little bevel and emboss. So it brings up our menu. Now in Photoshop CC, we can also access this just simply by just off to the right side. As long as you're not on the text, double click, it'll pop up the menu as well. We can go into our bevel and emboss here. Actually, you know what? Before we do that, I want to add a stroke to this. So what stroke does, it basically is going to add a line. So we go into our stroke menu and we've got color here. We can click on our little color box here and this will pop up. So we're going to make this white, and then our size, we can actually start to increase this. So now, you also have some options: position inside or outside. I really don't want to take away too much of the design. You can kind of play with this and see what looks the best. So that's outside. That is on the inside. When it's on the inside, you can kind of start to see that it's going to come together in certain areas, but it's going to take up that the interior of it. Ooh. All right, so we've got right up here in our back to our design here, right up here in the window. You guys can see we've got our we're using stroke here, and we've got our color. Now you can also change the color of this to, like, you know, go with something that's maybe, let's see, stroke. You know, you can have some fun with it if you want to add in a little accent. Maybe they want something that's doesn't have to be white, so we can go with some different color schemes. I like the white outline on this. Let's see, hit OK, and we're gonna go on the inside here, and let's go to 3. All right, and we got color, or we could do gradient. The gradient basically lets us start to kind of play with our different gradients that we have available here. To change that as well, and pattern, we can select our goofy looking patterns here, but for right now I think we're gonna go with color. All right, now what else do we have? We've also got, let's see if we can spice this up. We're gonna go into bevel and emboss now, and let's click our contour, come back to our bevel and emboss, and then we're going to adjust our size. So we got to decide on which one we want. Let's go inner bevel, and let's see what chisel hard is going to look like. Our depth I'm going to set to right about 400 here, and then we can start bringing up our size. So as I increase that bevel, the thing I like about that, one of the reasons I wanted to do that stroke first is because you see how it makes a really nice white line there. If I were to take that stroke out, I'll zoom in here for you, then you'll see we lose a lot of that highlighting. So it's going to definitely make it stand out. But I don't really like chisel hard. Let's go smooth. Oh yeah, that smooths everything out. And then you can just kind of keep increasing this, see what it ends up looking like. This just adds some kind of that 3D depth factor to it, which is really nice. And if it starts to get some jagged lines and stuff, you can always soften that up, make it look a little bit more round on the edges by increasing our little soften here. Now, the shading itself, you can play with this. And if you have other stuff like you'll see, like if we're using, say, a color or like a gradient pattern here, we also have our angle, and you can align with layer or reverse. Pattern overlay, our outer glow uses some of that same stuff too. And so the reason I want to bring that up is because up here you see use global light. Now when you're using global light, that'll basically use that overall light that you're using for the entire project. But if you just want to adjust this one particular layer, you can turn this off, and you see it just makes a little adjustment there, basically the center. And then as we change our angle of where the light's coming from, it's going to change how it looks. So we're going to find something that looks nice right on the edge. Gives us some cool shadowing, and hit OK. So now we got a kind of pretty cool design here. Let's add some text in here, and so we can do that pretty easy by going over here to our text tool and just kind of add anything we want in here. So let's go ahead and we'll make one for my wifey here, and let's increase our font size so we can see it. And let's find a font. Let's see what scripts we have. Grip font can be tricky because, I mean, it sometimes is just way out of control. I need to adjust down here in my characters. I've got my characters set a little off wonky, so I'm going to bring this back to normal 100. Make sure this is set. Let's go auto. And then all right, this is Amazon BT. So now we can increase this a little bit. Like I said, I always work with one layer at a time, and one of the main reasons why is because I can, once you get this the way to make it look exactly how you want it, then we can take that and duplicate it, save yourself a lot of time, a lot of hassle there. So. All right, and then we've got, so next, now we got to add in some effects. Very, very useful tools for our text. Let's start with little drop shadow. So drop shadow is going to give us that kind of depth, that nice 3D effect on this. That's kind of that it's by adding that shadow in there. Something I'm going to actually talk a lot more about on tomorrow's live stream, because I'm going to be talking about shadowing. I'm going to talk about different ways of actually incorporating even making kind of that mirror effect. Then we'll be doing that tomorrow at 11 a.m. and it'll be on time. Promise you. I'll be on time. Be on time for that one. So we've got our shadowing. Cool thing, we can increase our distance as well. So our first thing, I'll go over some of these things with you guys. Our blend mode. So this is one of those things where you got our normal, our dissolve, kind of looks a little pixelated there. As we go into darken, and as you scroll through these, sometimes you can get color burn. I always play with these and just start to see what looks the best for the design I'm working on, and that way, once luminosity. Linear burn. Multiply darkness on. I forgot what we had it on. Let's get cancel on that. Come back to it. Multiply. All right, so we got multiply there. And then right under it, we've got opacity. And by increasing this, it's going to make that shadowing darker. Our next one is going to be angle. And by playing with this, you can see that we can play with where that light's coming from and where that shadow is going to fall. And then, of course, distance. That's extreme, so you can see how far it basically casts that shadow out there. And that is that you're going to be able to use that as part of the trick of the light, and that's going to kind of give you that off the paper effect on this. So as we increase our spread, you're going to see it definitely get darker there, but then you see size. So if I bring size all the way down, you're going to get very crisp lines on that shadowing, and then as I increase the spread, it's going to get darker and stuff and thicker. But I can bring that, if I bring this down, then we just basically have like our size here. And as I increase the size, we're going to get a little bit softer lines, which is what we want. I want to just be able to see this here. And so playing with those two settings first, and get the overall effect you want. Increase that distance a little bit. And our spread there. All right, now our next one I want to go into here is going to be let's see, our bevel and emboss. Now when you activate this, it's going to have the same settings as the last one, which is a much larger image, so we're going to have to make some adjustments. First thing, let's cut this, and we'll cut this to maybe 100 here. And our size is going to have to come down a lot. So we just want to add a little bit on here. And on this one, instead of smooth, let's go to chisel hard, interim so outer bevel is going to give you guys kind of a raised look that we're, kind of bringing it off the paper. Inner bevel, that gives you nice crisp lines on the text, so you can make it a little bit more round there. And then you got emboss, which also kind of gives you that appearance it's coming off. And then even with like emboss itself, if you increase our depth, you can see that it just gets really, really dark on the edges there, because we're increasing how deep this is basically extreme, how much it's pushing out. Our pillow emboss, and let's see. So we're gonna go with our inner bevel. Let's take the softness all the way down to 0, and then we can play with our size. So we got our size at 3 here. Let's increase our depth. Get a little bit more kind of shadowing on the edges there, and we can play it with our angle. So angle of our light here, shading is going to be also affect the darkness of this. So you might find something that you really like, but it's too dark, then you can just lighten it up by decreasing our opacity here to get it just right. Alright, so we've got our first text. We hit OK. We know this is how we like it. Next thing we're going to be doing, Joe DJ, hey man, appreciate you being here in the live chat. Thanks so much for joining us, man. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're going to duplicate this layer by right-clicking our dialog box, and we'll just make this an and sign. Now that just basically names the layer, so we can double-click on our T icon and actually change the text. Our move tool. And we're going to do one more. Duplicate layer again. This one will be for me. We will double click our T icon and change our text. Select our move tool. And another shortcut that I use a lot during design is if you hold down the shift key and use your arrows, it's just much more, you get much more distance if you're going to go. Kind of magnifies that move factor. And if you're working in your design and you click on your layer, if you got a couple things in here, you could click on the wrong one and it's going to highlight the wrong layer. But if you hold down your control key and then touch it, you can easily move it without messing up the other stuff too much. Now, if I like this, I think it's nice where you can overlap things sometimes and make it look good. But on some designs, if you want to make adjustments, that's where our characters come into play. And you can always go up here to our window option here and come down and look for character. Make sure that is checked off. It'll pop up. And what characters does, like down here in the lower right, I can highlight all this text. And we've got some other options, so I can actually take any font I want and then shrink it down. So we can make this 90. Let's go and do the same with April. And that just gives us a little bit extra room. Cool thing is you can also have the option of shrinking down the text. So if one of our options here, if you highlight, or at least hover over it, our horizontal scale, then I can actually shrink this down a little bit. So if we did, let's do 90 on this, and we want him to kind of match. But it's going to bring those text in closer. Keep an eye on especially script fonts. As you change these in those aspects, sometimes it will, they won't line up. The fonts themselves as the characters, the different letters aren't going to line up as well on some of them, so you have to keep your eye out for that too. You might not be able to make some adjustments on that. All right, what do you guys think so far? Do you like? All right, so we've got our first design set. Let's see what we can do with this. We're going to save this. First thing I always do, go to save as. We'll toss it into our desktop here. And love monogram. I always save a Photoshop file in case I want to come back and edit it later. I'm going to save two versions of this. First, I'm going to go in and save this as a JPEG. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and I'm going to turn off our background layer and save this. Ooh, one thing I noticed that if we're going to do another video, we don't want to forget when we have a black background, we don't really need any shadow and we're not going to see it. So what I want to do is also, and the best way to, when you're adding in shadow, I'm going to duplicate our background layer. Just going to go to this other black layer here. We'll activate it again, but I'm going to change this to white because shadowing is going to look different on white as it is on the translucent background. And so this helps out quite a bit just for making, there's our paint bucket tool. Boom, turn it white. Just for making our adjustments, and then we'll turn it off. So now we can go back into our layer styles. Let's go into drop shadow, and we're going to increase this opacity a little bit, and increase the distance. Let's get a much bigger spread and our size. And basically, the reason I'm doing this, decrease our distance. Let's go to 0 on our distance. And the reason I'm doing this is because a lot of times when we add video into this, we want there to be a little dark area. It helps out a lot to, if we have a very busy video background, and we really just don't know what we're going to be doing. If we have a very busy video background, that helps out a lot to keep the areas around our design not quite as busy. And so this doesn't even have to look pretty. Says so much. Same thing. But it'll just kind of darken the areas around them. Now, if you're using a light video, which most of the time we're not, because we want got more of a black background for projecting. But that's not a rule. That's not a rule. So then you might want to spend a little bit more time on the shadowing itself. We're going to save this one as a PNG file because PNG is going to preserve that transparency. So right off the bat, if we wanted to project something, we could always open up our JPEG image. And we're back to glitchy on the webcam. Hopefully everything else is still fine, but yeah, and you'll let me in the chat if for some reason you start seeing that it's something's going down. think auto, yeah. All right, auto buffering was doing it. Sorry about that. That's all right, Mr. J Funk Sanchez, man. Great to have you in the chat. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, camera's clipping again. I finally found the setting. I think we're good as little buffer setting on there. So, if we wanted to project a design, we could always just use this one, and you know, it would look great on the wall. If we want to add a little zing to it, then we're gonna crank up and let's start with Vegas and see what happens here. How many of you guys have events for Valentine's Day? Here's one I was working on for another client where just basic heart. Happy Valentine's Day, a little rose petals falling here. Always works out really well there. Which reminds me, let's see, we got that, and then we can find some backgrounds. What do you guys want in the background? Anything that we can search for, or is there any ideas that pop up? Just let me know, and maybe we can do a couple different ones. And I'll show you guys also some like rendering settings and stuff that I end up using. See what you guys put here. All kinds of fun stuff. Let's see. Alright, so we got that. Maybe some hearts or something. Some cool effects there. Yeah, I do. The message that do you do custom designs? Yeah, I can actually do anything that you guys are interested needing for a client. With custom designs, I just basically have you email me at info@livingmotionmonograms.com, and with as much information as you can. I try and keep I'm able to keep the prices a lot lower for you if I have a lot more information. So it's like, oh, you know, here's an example of what they want recreated or created. But can you do this with something, you know, whether it's motion or video in the background or something? I can always create whatever it is that you guys end up wanting. Or recreate something that they've seen that they've really liked, and but I'll basically give you a price quote on it ahead of time, and then anytime I do custom designs on static images, I always provide you guys with the master files, because I want you to build your library. So I give you the Photoshop file and everything, and that way you can make edits to it later if you want to use it again in the future. With motion, it's a little trickier. I can provide you with the video files, but sometimes there's an additional cost if I need to get the license for you. I just won't send the file. Some licenses will allow me to use it in the final product that I send to the people, but I can't just give that video file by itself away. But if it's something that you want the video file for future use, then I can buy the correct license to so that I can give it to you, or at least give you direction on where to get it. Don't mind that either. And a lot of content I make, and if that's the case, then it's not a problem. I can always provide that for you as well. Yeah, falling hearts. Ooh, glowing in the background. I like that. Eric says, do you still use Grand VJ? Yes, still love using Grand VJ. And I'll show you a trick with that too. We'll make something here. Let's go to new. We'll make something here, and I'll show you guys how I basically do designs on the spot at events. I'm telling you, man, this webcam is going to be the death of me. I don't understand why it's clipping again. Let's see if that fixes it. It just keeps glitching out. So, and I'll show you how you can use almost kind of any design with it, with PNG or just the JPEG image, and add something in the background. So we've got, I'll add our little video layers in here. We got to find our images. We've got love PNG. Cool thing with Vegas, at least, and it doesn't have to. This is Vegas 15 we're working with. Vegas Pro 15. It's a really expensive program. Movie Studio, which is last time I checked like $40, does pretty much all this stuff. You're just limited on layers, but I don't think you'll ever work or need that many layers to do what we end up kind of using it for. So it's helpful for me for some of my other projects and everything, so that's why I have it. But the cool thing with that is that it also accepts. I can actually just put the Photoshop file in here if I want. I don't even have to use PNG or JPEG, so it will actually use Photoshop image there. But we want our, let's see, PNG. Now you can see it's our black background, and that's because we have our background. I can change that. It's just default black white. So there's white, just as it shows where our limits are on here. But our background by default on this, as far as rendering and everything, is black anyway. Unless we're gonna render it. I can render it as an alpha channel if we really want to use later, but usually when it's rendered with an alpha channel, it's not going to play in a media player too well, except for programs like Grand VJ. So we have this. Now we got to go ahead and find, let's see what we've got motion wise for hearts. We're going to search video. Let's see, we've got falling hearts. Falling blue tinted. Let's see, I don't know if it's going to let me drag it. No. And yes. So these are default. Not bad. Falling heart elements. Oh, these are kind of cool. Now, if you want, hey, we like this. Well, let's who was it that said hearts floating upwards? Eric said hearts floating upwards. We can do that. We'll basically go to properties and oh, I don't even think we have to do that. Make group. And reverse. Now we have hearts floating upwards. They're looking a little glitchy right here for now. So this little arrow here shows that we're actually playing this clip in reverse. And hearts gold. I've always liked this one. This one's kind of nice. It's a nice little rotation, but we got to look for something that's definitely going to look good with our with our red. I think our blue might clash a little bit too much. This looks cool because it goes with the white. Gold. Gold could go well with this, but we may end up wanting to do our design a little different if we use something like that. Let's see what else we got here. Good. Very, very white parts. Well, this is psychedelic. Another root. Wow. Orange and white. Interesting. I wonder if we could add an effect into this. Chroma. Let's try our color balance. I'm going to do two. Color balance and our color corrector. So our first, here's our control panel. First thing is I'm just going to do color balance here. And with this, we can make those adjustments. So we can do highlights. This kind of affects the image. There's kind of way too much. This would red midtones. This can, it's a easy way to change simple adjustments. Color corrector is the same thing where here's our low, mids, and highs. And as we make those changes, we can actually change the color of this. I really just don't want to change the color, so we're gonna eliminate that and this, and go with. I'm wondering how chroma key will work on this. So chroma key is what we use. So basically, like in the video here, you guys see how you can't see my background, and I'll let you in on the magic here. But if I turn chroma key off, now all of a sudden you see the green screen. Same concept, except we're not using green. A lot of, and the reason that that in production we use green and blue, green screen and blue screens, is because those are kind of two colors that aren't used a lot in clothing and everything, because that can have a big impact. So we can go in here and actually choose anything we want. So if we like the, I'm not a big fan of the orange, so we select. Boom. And it's gonna, our low threshold, let's see our high threshold. So we can take a little bit of background out. I don't know, we're trying too hard with that clip, but it's not a very good one anyway. So I think our winner right now, let's play with this one. And we're gonna have them rising into the air. So when I do monogram designs, here's another kind of tip for you. So we're gonna make this, let's see. I always go and look at the clip because, you know, if we want to optimize this as much as possible. So if I'm using like Grand VJ, it automatically loops it or something. I want the file as small as possible. So I'm not going to make it really long. If you're using a media player that has a hard time looping things and has a little glitch or something like a pause before it starts over, you might end up making a lot larger of a file. But we're going to make a small one here. Anytime you can kind of also see in the stream, I can see it here. This background is a little bit light. And I want it to be as black as possible because that's what's blocking the light in the projection. And to do that, one of the little things that tips is I go into my little track effects and I add in a little brightness and contrast control. And I just bump up my contrast like 1 or 2 points. So let's see how that, see if you guys can see a difference. A little bit on stream. Not a huge difference on stream, but I can see a huge difference here. And that'll make nice deep black in there so that it's not going to create a kind of gray box. That's not always the reason that that gray box appears, but it is part of it. So we've got our first design here. If we want to kind of render this, I might go to my settings. So we've got, I'll show you guys. This is if I turn my filters off here. So render settings sometimes come with, I've got a lot more than that's usually there with software, but this one actually uses my 1080 graphics card also to help with the rendering. But as far as the settings that I use most of the time, if I'm doing MP4, then 1920 by 1080, frame rate 29.9, and our maximum our bit rate is just 24, basically 24 million. Average is 12 million here. Audio, you can actually just shut that off. You don't really need it. But I always want to make sure I go with vendor rendering quality best, so that it always renders in that top quality that I can do. So we're gonna go and let's go to our desktop, save it here. This will be our video monogram. Oh, yes. And should only take a couple seconds here. But as that's rendering, then all of a sudden we're gonna fire up our okay, so we've got this rendered out, and that's all said and done. And of course, if you guys have questions as I go through some of these, you know, just let me know. I'll definitely kind of guide you through it as well. All right, and all right, save changes. We go into our, where is our save file here. So here's our MP4. Open. There you go. And then, yeah, again, if we're going into, we can always go into full screen here. Make sure we got this looped. And stop moving our mouse, is going to go full screen. Then we got to get in our little cubby here. Then we got hearts going everywhere. So happy Valentine's Day, sweetie. I love you. I'm gonna you know, maybe we'll project this on the wall when she gets home or something. Just for her. And then look, because some of these, you know, are not true loops, and you can see there's a little stutter there. I might have to go back in, correct that a little bit. Maybe it's a bad file or something. I just need to correct the ending and the beginning. And yeah, see that I've got a little stutter there, and that's not the media player, but I think it's actually in the file. I was seeing that a little bit. And so if we go in and we want to launch our Grand VJ, I want to show you guys one more thing before we cut out in the stream here. Absolutely love Grand VJ because I can actually just design my different elements and in Grand VJ at the event. I can design my elements ahead of time and then put them all together at the event really fast and easy. I'll show you how fast it really is. All right, let's go into, and we want to be able to, we can just drag stuff in. So we're going to take our PNG file, pop this in. We can activate that, and that pops up. And then we got to find that background again. Where'd it go? So falling hearts. Is that it? Yep, that's it. And that shows surface 1. I think I'm in mapper mode. Let's see what surface 1 is on this. Okay, just want to make sure it's the right aspect ratio here. So it does show us one. I think I have my settings for the preview set a little bit winky wonk. And display. Media. Full mixer preview style full. All right, and then we can add in. Oh no! It's there. It's because we got to just basically set our priorities. So we can go over here and set our priority to background layer. Come back to our heart layer and set that as a foreground. So now when we activate our heart, it pops up right on top of it. Can I make this any bigger for you? Bam. Bam. Okay. So now we've got our design. Well, oh, but you know the other one the hearts were going up. That's a problem, right? Yeah, I don't know what we're gonna do about that. Oh yeah, that's right. We can go into our speed and change that to say, let's go to 1 minus 1. And I can't get it in there. Come on. Yeah, all right, that's gonna have to do. And so now we can play backwards. It might take a second to kind of buffer it just a little bit because again we're altering this quite a bit. Oh, we don't even have to do that. I'm working too hard on this. Because what we can do is set default there and loop backwards. I just hit the loop backwards button. It's probably a lot easier. And I wonder if I can see right here. Let's see. This is, oh, that's why. Okay, so this is a very large. It's a big. Yeah, that's a big monster of a file. So you can see how this is having a hard time playing it backwards right off the bat. And I may want to go in and kind of re-render that file just so that it would be a lot smoother. But if we took our final file, I bet you anything and we activate. Ooh, hey, look, we got some colorful effects on there for this video. Had a chance, if you haven't already, I did a little there is a tutorial on the effects and stuff of what Grand VJ can do, as well as the transitions that you can use inside the program here. That's pretty amazing. All right, now so then in this one I can tell you that it is, no, it's not too bad. Let's see if the codec is a little bit better for playing backwards. I got a lot going on right now on this computer, so it is using, it's not let's just say it's not happy with me right now. Yeah, there's a lot, it's processing a lot, so most of this is probably just an effect of doing the live stream, rendering all the video and stuff. So
who used to call me on my cell phone.
Hey Henrik, thanks so much for subscribing, man. I appreciate you being a part of that. If you guys haven't already, and if you not a part of the Living Motion Monogram family here on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, man. Have some fun with it. We're doing live streams all the time, more tutorials, giving you guys some guidance, answering those questions, and working hard for you to give you some free training, free content. just to help get you guys to that point where you feel comfortable in everything you do when it comes to monograms. And then the last thing I want to show you with Grand VJ here is that, like, we have, this is our JPEG image, and you can see that if I click on this, if I click on this, then, and I activate my JPEG image, I gotta bring this foreground. Bam, it covers everything, right? But one of the things that I can do with this is actually go into our mixing, and it's got a preset. If I want to reject black, bam, now it'll reject black. Now, remember, in our design, we've got some black in there with the shadowing on the inside, so it also rejects that as well. You can also adjust the key range. So if we want it to be a little less forgiving and add some of that black back in, we can do that. So the shade, a little bit of the shading's back, but we start to get a little bit, it gets a little bit rough there. But it's a very cool little tool. Same thing if we just like default, and if we did reject white, you can see that it shows through in those little areas. So if you have a white design and then you want it to show through, it'll show the video through those white designs, which is really cool as well. And depending on what video you have in the background, let's see if we did, oh, I gotta go back here and adjust our key range. So whatever it may end up being there, some real wicked effects there, but you can also reject red. Let's try this. Presets, reject our red color. Oh, I'm on the wrong one. That should be default. And I'm gonna go to a monogram design and reject red. Pretty darn cool. Now, whatever video we're playing in the background will show up everywhere that red was. So, but I was saying before, if you guys haven't already, hit that, hit the subscribe to the channel. We'd much appreciate it. We're going for our goal, man. We've gone so far. Oh, it's just such a little amount of time. We're at 657 subscribers. We're going for our road to 1,000, baby. That's what we're going for. And that way we can keep the content coming to you guys. And if this video has helped you out, got some sparks, some ideas, hit the like button. Let me know you liked it so that we can continue with some of these trends, and that just kind of lets me know what you guys are most interested in. That's the content I want to create for you guys. So thank you so much for coming out to the live stream, guys. I hope you had a blast, and make sure check us out tomorrow. Next live stream is going to be on shadowing and mirroring and all kinds of pretty cool effects. It's easy to do with Photoshop, and we're going to do those in both Photoshop CC and Photoshop Elements. So regardless of which one you're using, we're going to help you out. Thanks again for coming out and joining us on the live stream, guys. Have a great day and happy Valentine's Day. Hopefully you that you'll let me be your guys' Valentine. All right. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you next time.